Hello guys, welcome to Top Wisdom. Today we're going to talk about business sectors and their environment. One of the easiest chapters in the business studies, by the way, business studies. This is one of the shortest chapter, especially for matriculants. People who are in matric know this chapter is the shortest chapter. So grade 10s. We are focusing on the grade 10s today. So without wasting any time, let's begin. This is chapter 6, by the way. This is chapter 6, term 2. So I'm going to start with the terms and definition. That's where I'm going to begin with the terms and definition. I'm going to say a term and a definition. Business sector. A business sector is a subdivision. A business sector is a subdivision. Primary sector. This sector deals with extraction of raw material and natural resources. Secondary sector. This sector processes raw material into finished goods. Tertiary sector. This sector renders service to other businesses and provides auxiliary. Business environment. All internal and external factors that are affected by functioning. Microenvironment. This environment is a business itself. It consists of all the elements. Market environment. This environment exists immediately outside the business. Macro environment. This environment exists outside the micro and the market environment. Extent of control. The amount of influence that the business has on the business. So this chapter, guys, is very straightforward. This chapter is not like unlike the other chapters that are like difficult on metric especially. This is very straightforward. If you fail this, you definitely have a problem. I swear you have a problem. So now we are going to the real business now. Going to explain each and everything. So let me start to say business sectors. Business sectors are subdivisions, as I said. For example, like primary, secondary, and tertiary. Those are business sectors. Just know when I talk about business sectors, I'm talking about primary sector and secondary sector and tertiary sector. So we are going to primary sector now. Primary sector. This sector deals with extraction of raw material and natural resources. So the sector deals with raw materials and natural resources. Mainly if you are in matric, they've probably taught you this. They taught you this and you must know this. It's very easy, but if you are in grade 10, if you are new, I'm telling you now, this sector deals with extraction of raw material and natural resources. Natural resources which are man-made, like coal, gold, fish, livestock, or other things extracted from this sector. Examples of the primary sector industries: mining, fishing, agriculture, forestry, and farming. As I said, you find raw materials when you are fishing, things like that. Agriculture, you find natural resources there. I've never studied agriculture, but you can ask someone who have studied agriculture, can tell you that, or he or she can tell you that. So now we are going to the secondary sector. This is a business sector and is responsible for changing the raw materials acquired from the primary sector into useful products. It includes manufacturing factories, construction, energy generation. So I want to make an example about this situation here. In South Africa, when we get gold, let's say we have mined the gold, we sell it to USA. USA then manufactures it and makes them a gold bar, things like that. Makes them gold bar and look so that they can look nice and something like that. Or they take them to make chains there, or make chains there. That's how you manufacture things. That's a secondary sector. At least you have learned something now, which is why African countries are not rich even though they have many gold, because they are selling it to the West. But I'm not going to talk about that here, because here we're talking about business studies. So as I've said, they take the stuff, then they manufacture it. Example of secondary sector industries is manufacturing, clothing, food processing, building, and construction are found in this sector. Because you just, whenever, okay, let's say for example, the chicken. You have chickens, you sell it to a secondary sector. Secondary sector, they will cut the chicken and make braai packs, those you buy at ShopRite. That's how this functions. You have to understand this by now. You have to understand this. Now you know the secondary sector. You know the primary sector, you know the secondary sector. You should get total here on this chapter. If you don't, you have a problem. Because this is very straightforward. There's no reason why you should fail this. There's definitely no reason. Tertiary sector. This sector renders services to the public and business. It includes services from transport, banking, legal, and health. Example of the tertiary sector industries: distribution, banking, insurance, tourism, transportation, entertainment, retail, and legal services. As I've said, as I make an example about gold. After we've manufactured the chain, what do? We sell it to a jewelry store. Then the jewelry store does what? It sells it to you. Let's say when you are going to get married, obviously you have to buy a ring. A ring is made of what? It's either it's made of gold or silver, but it's already manufactured in a secondary sector. Now you are buying it on the tertiary sector. That's how business works. This is how business works. So now we are going to the possible business challenges, their environment and extent of control. Possible challenges. I'm going to start there with possible challenges in the micro environment. Let me write here micro environment. By the way, micro environment, in terms of extent of control, it has full control. Micro environment. I'm going to explain that as time goes by. Possible challenges: difficult employees or high rate of absenteeism, lack of vision, mission, lack of adequate management skills, union strike go slows. As I've said, extent of control. Micro environment has full control. Why? You have full control of the management skills. That simply means you're the one who decides who to hire. If you hire a worst manager, you have control. You're the one who hired the worst manager in the world. So that's how it works. And the lack of vision and mission. If the business has no vision or mission, who to blame? The owner of the business, obviously, because he's the one, or he or she, he's the one who planned the business all the time. So without wasting any time, I'm going to the market environment. In the market environment, we have limited control. That simply means we can control some things and some things can't be controlled. So that's how it works. Market environment. Possible challenges: competition, shortage of supply. We have control of shortage of supply. If we have shortage of supply, we might have control. By the way, let me just put it on that terms, because sometimes it's the supplier who's the problem. Sometimes it's us, because we can't afford to buy more products. Competition, it's a win or lose situation. Sometimes you can control, sometimes you can't. Demographics and physiographics, whatever. That's how it's. Social cultural factors. Those are all possible challenges on the market environment. So, as I've said, that you have limited control, or you can just say less control. If you want to use some expensive English, you can say partial control. If you want to be fancy, by the way. So now we are going to the macro environment. Macro. Always remember, whenever we talk about macro environment, we talk about no control. We have no control on the macro environment. I want you to understand this. Micro environment, full control. Macro environment, no control. Change in income levels, no control. Contemporary legislation, labor restrictions, socio-economic issues, HIV and AIDS. We have no control of HIV and AIDS. Interest rates are controlled by the bank. We have no control. Political changes, we have no control there. So it's done. That's it. That's what you have to know. So another thing is that you should remember, you will only be able to do the following on the exam, by the way. You have to know to code business challenges from the scenario, classify these challenges according to the business environment. The challenge must be linked to the business environment. State the extent of control business have over each business environment. Those things you have to know when you are going to write the exam. So now I'm just going to make a little bit big example now of the primary sector. I'm going to read this aloud. Duka Mines specializes in extraction of platinum. Their suppliers of mining equipment have increased their prices by more than 20%. The supervisor does not have a good working relationship with his employees. DM can no longer export their products due to an increase in exchange rate. Exchange rate. What are exchange rate? As I've talked about, when we talk about exchange rate, now we are talking about interest rate. Where do interest rates fall? Under macro environment, as I've explained, under macro environment. So without wasting any time, I'm going to say how this works. Their suppliers of mining equipment have increased their prices by more than 20%. That's market environment. We have less control because they are suppliers. We have less control. It's their suppliers now. We can't say we have full control. We can talk to them and say decrease or whatever, decrease the percentage, but we have less control. 2, the supervisors does not have good working relationship with his employees. That's micro environment. We have full control. The supervisor is the problem. We're the one who hired the supervisor. We're the one to blame in this situation. DM can no longer export their products due to an increase in the exchange rate. As I've said, we have no control. That's a macro environment. So in this situation, I am done making an example. You know this by now. Now you have to go and write and pass. It's done. So let me just say this. Business environments, micro environment, we have full control. Market environment, we have less control. Macro environment, we have no control. That's it. That's all you need to know about the business sectors chapter. It's the shortest chapter. So guys, if you want more chapters, go and check the playlist of business studies. You'll see more chapters. Okay, 12 chapters. So guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video and share the video.